is episode 51, Balance and Priorities.
Hi everyone, we're back with another episode of SLP's Wine and Cheese. I'm Deb.
And I'm Maria.
And here's our podcast.
For the Realistic SLP.
Welcome.
Welcome back, I almost want to say, because we did take a short yet effective break.
Yes, a very necessary break.
Yes, that we all needed, mostly you, not
Yes.
to, you know.
That is true.
point
I will.
fingers or
Well,
anything.
if there was a finger to be pointed, it certainly should be at me because I just had too much going on.
That's a
too
good
much.
thing, though. I was very happy for you and very excited, and as I still am.
Thank you.
Present tense, I am excited and happy for you that you have a new apartment that we're sitting in right now.
Yes.
So cool.
Do you like it?
I do. I'm surrounded by boxes, but I still
Yes.
like it. No, I'm kidding.
It's kind of like a fort,
yeah, with
Mhm.
boxes
a box fort.
and a dog just
Yeah,
staring
on
at
top
us.
of the castle of boxes.
Yes.
We do have some things that we need to not worry about, but to fix. Like, we've been spending so much time outside, which has allowed, there's a fly buzzing around my head right now.
Yeah, that's okay. We're going to keep it going.
So we just there's some things, when you move into a new place, things are different. We're on the
Yes.
first floor now. So anyone who walks into the building, the dogs hear them going up the stairs and then they start barking. So now we have to work on calming them down under that circumstance. And then also we have a backyard.
I know. Can we get a cheers to this
Yeah,
backyard?
cheers to the backyard.
I just want to say you have a backyard and a dishwasher. Game changers.
Mm-hmm. I'm quite pleased. But the backyard, although it's lovely, it's all dirt currently, which has caused a lot of dirt to trail into the house. So,
Right.
you just have to live somewhere for a little bit before you can determine what works and what doesn't. And then you need to prioritize according to need.
I like that. Yes. So while we're going to talk about that, I definitely want to talk about the wine because
Yes.
I'm not really doing any of what you're doing.
Right.
I'm
yes.
just drinking here.
Yes.
I'm just
Mhm.
relaxing.
Well, I'm glad that you came to drink and relax.
Thank you. I'm glad. Me too, actually. So
Good.
I'm glad we are on the same page.
Good.
So we have our I was corrected today, which I really appreciated.
Who corrected you?
Gail. She's one of our
Oh.
listeners. She
Hi,
really,
Gail.
Yes. Hi, Gail. She
Gail,
really,
let me know if you think I should become prompt certified.
Oh, she's gonna say yes. Woohoo! Anyway, so she corrected me, but in a good way, and she did say that she is a listener and she really enjoys us.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, and she's great. But so we're drinking again, Grateful Palate Bitch Line, and it's the Grenache grape with the stress on the first vowel, which Gail told me, which I feel like really helped me to remember and also produce.
What
when
were
I was
you
told
saying?
Grenache. I don't know. Everything but
Grenache?
Am I
feel
saying
like
it wrong again?
I feel like I've heard
Gren-
Grenache the whole time, so I'm not quite sure.
The stress is on the. See, there they are. It's okay. At least
So,
they
yeah.
know we're serious about
All right.
everything we say. There's our evidence.
Yeah, so we also have to
Gren.
figure out how we'll do this
Now
with
I feel
dogs.
like I'm messing up the stress, but I was told to stress on the first vowel. Yes, and I think that was a good opportunity for me to think about teaching stress. Stress on the first vowel.
Right,
So
yeah.
with that, for the record, it's Grenache. That's it. That's how you
Grenache.
pronounce the grape.
Grenache.
And we paired it today with this nice smooth provolone, and we got a little protein in there with some salami, which Deb, you really like salami.
I do. I'm a big salami fan.
I'm not as big of a fan, but I do feel like it is a good hearty snack. I mean, it's on the go. Don't take wine with you on the go unless
Right.
you're
New
walking-
Orleans.
Right, or they have open container laws. Savannah, Georgia, too. Fun
Oh.
fact.
South Street Seaport, you can walk all around and drink.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In New York City.
Yes.
For the record.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like this pairing, and I definitely vote drink this wine.
I vote drink it as well.
And I like that the smoothness of the provolone with the slight kick of the red wine was really nice. And it was just very classic,
Yeah, it works well together.
Yeah,
I
it wasn't
think.
overwhelming or it wasn't complicated. It was let's roll it up this provolone with this salami and have some wine. It's like
Yeah.
a great little midnight snack, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, so snacking on the go, I feel like, is important because when you're running around, like in the summertime, I feel like everyone's busy in the summer.
Yeah.
You want to pack healthy snacks. So I definitely recommend provolone and salami.
Well,
and if you're
salami's
allowed,
not very healthy for you at all. Lots of nitrates, and
I know.
pork is like the worst of all the meats that you can consume. But
Good point.
I mean, you can have a salami here or there. Everything in moderation.
Yeah. I was thinking like a quick little snack because we rolled it up. But
Yeah,
I
I was
ya.
asked what my goals are for next year, and they
Wow.
are to do more taking care and prioritizing what I need to do for myself to have a successful busy day, and that includes like meal prep and planning my clothes and things along the lines of that. So, I think it's important in order to maintain a balanced life.
I agree, and that's what we want to talk about today. So today on this episode, we will feature a lovely interview from one of our listeners and another fellow SLP.
Ah,
So we'll get to hear
that's
from her.
exciting. I haven't heard it yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a great interview. I had a lot of fun listening to her and also interviewing her. So I'm just trying to live in the moment. I'm not trying to talk about next year, like at all. You know,
Right, yeah,
I'm
you
just
don't
trying to talk
even-
about the summertime.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Now that I'm 31, I'm a little wiser.
Oh, right.
Woohoo,
You're
I had-
31. I'm still 30.
Yes. This
Yeah.
is the rare moment where I'm a little older, so you should listen to me.
Right. Yes,
That
because
one.
you're older and wiser.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
By like 2 weeks or
Yeah, about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to focus on not next year, this moment, the summertime,
Mm-hmm.
and how, I'm sure our listeners are still busy, even though, let's say, school's out, or maybe since it's the summer, maybe their caseload has lightened up a little bit. But it's still important that we have to balance what's going on in our lives. We all have responsibilities, whether you're a mom or you're single and you have your pets or your family. Like, we all have these responsibilities and priorities.
Right. Yeah. And especially yourself. Even if you're just you need to take care of you.
Exactly.
Because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else will.
That's a good point. I like that line. Cheers to that. Let's take a little sip. You sip. I'm going to go on to asking you, how do you prioritize your life? And then I was going to give 3 tips. So I wanted to hear your tips or your viewpoint on that.
Okay, so I mean, I feel like throughout my day and week, there are a few staple things that I must do. And so I do a lot of time blocking. For instance, like I'm seeing Maria from 10 to 11, and then from 11:30 to 12:15, I'm seeing Michael, and like I'll do it like that.
But you always know to, like, I'm going to be late. So whatever time you think I'm going to come,
Yes.
just like add an hour.
Yeah, I was pretending Maria was the name of my client, though. But yeah, you are always late. You can be on time if you. I think maybe you're worried to disappoint me or anyone else that you're talking to. So like you give yourself an unrealistic time in which you'll be somewhere instead of like actually calculating how much time. Like you're just saying like in my head I'd like to be there at this time. You should just be like realistic. This is what time I'll be there.
I'm
Like
working on
today, I was 40 minutes late to my session, and it was
Wow.
so stressful. But
Yes.
I emailed the mom, and then I got her phone number, and I was just like, my GPS says that my arrival time is 3:22, and I'm supposed to be there at 3. And then I'm like, I'm still going to have to park. And there is an accident on the BQE. So let's say we're not even going to start this session until 3:40. And we didn't. And we didn't start till 3:40. And then we were supposed to be done at 5:05 because there's 3 kids. And I didn't get finished until 5:30. And that's just what happened.
That is what just happened.
That is just it. And I didn't say, like, I'm going to be there at 3:15, even though, I would have liked to be there at 3:15. I knew I wasn't. So I just wanted to be very realistic.
Which is good.
And what's realistic right now is
Yes.
that we don't have an office because nothing is unpacked yet. So we have to do this podcast in front of all the dogs that are barking.
Which, in our other previous episode, we did talk about dogs and that they have so many receptors in their nose.
Right.
And now I'm like chilling because I'm wiser. You know, I'm just going to keep doing that.
Right,
Like, almost
yes.
like an older sister thing.
Yeah, it's like a
"Listen to me."
self-serving rationalization.
Yeah, whatever you want to say, younger sister. You know, whatever you think is better. But
Right,
really,
yeah.
really, I know better.
Okay. Mhm.
That the dogs are overwhelmed with the new surroundings, so it's okay.
Right.
There's barking, and there's usually like ambulances or motorcycles or cars
Right.
in our episodes. So for today, it's dogs.
It's dogs.
You know,
But
I do
Aislinn did tell me
appreciate-
I needed to give the dogs a job when they're barking. Go over there and lay down. Go lay down. And yeah, because dogs in times of stress prefer a responsibility.
Really?
Is what she told me. So I'm
Wow.
working on giving them jobs, like sitting and laying down when they hear something.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I need more high value snacks for them. I keep running out.
High value snacks. What about toys?
If that was like, she mentioned that in the interview, she's saying like if your dog is highly motivated by a toy, then it's a high value treat.
Right.
But my dogs are not that motivated by toys, and I think that they're spoiled. They are just like, I don't care if you take that away. I have 3 more.
I'm glad you're saying it, not me.
Yeah.
Because I
Well,
didn't.
he just is a
Treats are
good
what
baby.
they're called. They're a treat, so it's not always. But I just have a lot of toys though in my defense as a dog mom. I'm just like, I got so many toys, you know.
You got lots of toys.
That I throw one and he's like, well, I got more toys over here.
Right. Yes.
So I don't have to run over there. So
Right.
I feel you. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that. So anyway, so you're big with time blocking.
Yeah, and then I also make sure that I only set to do tasks that will take the amount of time that I have available. And we talked about this on our social stories episode.
Yes.
So, for instance, today you told me you were going to be here at 6:45.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go get my computer from my old apartment and bring it here. So I got to my old apartment at 6:05, and then I was like, you know what? I need some towels and things from the dollar store. So I went to the dollar store.
And Maria will always be
and
late.
you were going to be late. But I was
You're
still
welcome.
here by 6:35. Just to be, no, 6:40 probably. Because when I looked at my clock, it was 6:50, but I had already been settled in. Like, I already did a bunch of stuff. Set up the computer, made a sandwich, and then you came here around, I think, 7:30, maybe.
Right. Again, just always add the hour.
Yes.
And you'll be good.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's fine.
I don't know what happened. I was late, and then the GPS told me an hour. But I did factor in it would take an hour for me to get here. But my session ran over because I had to reestablish the rules of speech therapy, which means do stuff, then you get a reward.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I had to stay extra,
Yeah.
and I had to because I was not going to leave without teaching that.
Right, that expectation.
Yep.
Right, that's good.
Yes, thank you. I thought it was so that's why I was late. 'Cause I had
Okay.
to stick by my morals.
Well, I mean,
that I
it's
do
totally
stick so.
fine with me. I mean, for the most part, I was super panicky when I was running late, when I was
Okay.
like late for my session today.
Aw.
And, you know, for the most part, people are pretty understanding, especially because we're in New York and it's impossible to be on time almost.
Yes.
So don't worry. It's good.
Okay, thank you.
All's well.
Thank you, Deb.
What are your tips for balance and prioritizing?
Sure. Okay. So I don't know if there's an actual term for this, but I just made up my own term. So I like to group things together, and usually by geographical location, which I feel like maybe take all this advice with a grain of sand because I am typically late, except for like events. Like I know when things start at 6, I'm like, okay, I have to be there by 6. You know, I don't intentionally try to be late. Like, oh, it starts at 6, but I'm gonna get there at 7. I don't do that. But for instance, I have a nice example. So like when I want to go to yoga, I try to go to yoga, and then since I'll be in the area of the shopping center, I'm going to like prioritize what I want to buy. And then I might ask a friend to meet up with me like, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this if you want to come with me. So then I feel like I got my workout. I got to go to yoga. So I got like check physical activity. Check relieve mental stress, I guess you could say. But it's also like functional. Check. I got to go and buy like new sheets that I needed and wanted, and like I like to know that I'm like doing stuff.
Right, like you accomplished something.
Yes. So, and then check, I got to ask a friend to hang out and, you know, got a little social / maybe emotional or mental support. So I like
Right.
group that together. And that's
geographically.
Yes, geographically, but also like mentally, I guess I can't.
Okay,
find a
yeah.
word.
I mean, it is like a sense of relief when you cross something off of your to-do list.
Yeah, but I also like got me out of bed to go to yoga because not only did I go to yoga, I got my sheets, I got to see my friend.
Right.
You know, so it's like I grouped those 3 things together.
Okay.
So I like to group things.
But that just sounds to me like maybe this is why Maria's always late. Because when she's somewhere, she does like 6 other things in that area. And meanwhile, she's supposed to be in a different area.
That could be why.
20 minutes.
Right.
So like,
yes.
maybe that's like, don't take any advice from Maria.
That's true too. We're all entitled to our opinions. But maybe you can group things if you want to take my advice and make it better. Like if you know you only have an hour, then fine, only do one of those things. But if you know you have more time, try to like capitalize on the time. Like, oh, I'm going to be here, so I might as well do this too.
I'm a big editor though. So like, let's say I am on my way to do something and I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to go see this kid in Brooklyn Heights, but I also need a doormat, sheets, dog food, and some groceries. So I will stop along my route to get these things done, or at least after and on my way home. Right. But if I'm running behind and I just sense that like I'm going to have less than 10 minutes to spare, I will just edit that thing off my list. I'll be like, we no longer require groceries. We will figure that out later. I toss it away. So, because I know, I mean, what is most important is that I get to my job on time because I can do things in between, you know?
True.
And then, like, it is most important to do your job, well, from my perspective, and other things can be done after. You don't want to be that person who is, like, constantly making up excuses for not being to work on time. So I'd rather just edit my day and eliminate something that I need to do for myself, but I make sure that I have the integrity to come back and do it. Right. Otherwise, because if you don't do what you are supposed to do, you're going to go crazy because you'll just sit there thinking about it. And I don't want to put myself in that position. I don't like to spend time worrying. Mm-hmm. And that's why this move has been so stressful, because there have been things outside of my control that have caused me worry, which has been really humbling. Because
it's a good choice of words.
Yeah, because I'm like, I do not invite this type of stress into my life. And you, sir, are creating it there for me. And that is where I have a problem. I'm being so mean to all these people who have just met, like, you know, the landlord, the floor guy, the neighbor, just everyone, just because I'm like, I don't allow this to happen to myself. I create spaces within my life for just complete calm.
That's great.
I'm like, I don't have time to go to the store. Cross it off. Next. Like, I'm going to be late. I will inform them of my time. They have the choice to wait for me or cancel. That's it. I'm not going to worry beyond that. I will not. But there have been many things this week that have been outside of my control. Yeah. And that really infuriates me. I didn't know I could feel anger.
Well, good. I'm glad that you feel it.
I
honestly, because I'm like, are you human?
I know.
But there was a lot of thoughts, which I liked. But I wouldn't recommend this, like, you know, if you have to be at work by like 7 a.m. I was thinking more like a weekend or an after work thing, you know? So like maybe as the motivator to like go to like a workout class or go for a jog is like, oh, I could jog. And then I could also stop at the deli and buy dog treats. And then if, you know, my friend Jane is around, I'll be like, hey, I'm doing this. You're welcome to join. Right. So you just kind of like motivated yourself to do all these things because you chunked them together. But again, not at the expense of you being late and missing work and then like you don't pay your bills. Like that would not be good advice.
Right, but if you were like, oh, I can go to yoga on my lunch break, like maybe that could be a good idea. But then maybe that could also ruin your whole day. Right. You have no idea if like maybe something could happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know what my big motivator is to wake up and work out?
Frankie.
No,
I just picked a random thing.
To go to sleep in like gym clothes.
Oh, okay.
I'll just sleep in what I'm going to go to yoga in.
I like to sleep in my pajamas, though.
I don't even have pajamas. I sleep in, like, underwear and T-shirts.
Okay.
But I'll, like, wear my yoga clothes. This way, when I wake up, I'm like, I'm already ready. What's the excuse? There is none.
Interesting.
Good to go.
I'm I might try that. I don't know. I just like to sleep the way I like to sleep. I don't know if I want to change that. But
Yeah,
maybe I'll think about it.
this is what's important. Everything in life is individualized. It's up to you.
Exactly. So that's my number one tip of grouping things. Check
according
it.
to location.
Yes. And then I wanted to recommend, which I'm thinking about this now, you want to, or I like to, I should say, break up my tasks, my to-do list, and I like to put it on little pieces of paper. Because I did try writing my to-do list on like such a big piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, I feel like I need to add more to this paper, when really, no, I don't. Right? So I liked little Post-its or little papers that you get from hotels. So I like to take those, and that's my to-do list. They're short and they're little.
So your first advice was to like just spend all your time in one location and not move on. Your second piece of advice is to steal paper from hotels.
It's there for you to take. Mm-hmm.
It's included in the nightly
I feel like it definitely is included in the nightly
yes,
rate.
for sure.
And there's like a Friends episode about this where Chandler's like, we can't steal the remotes, but we can steal the batteries.
Right.
So any Friends fans out there will appreciate that.
I actually like to write to-do lists on big pieces of paper with Sharpie in big letters. This way I feel so good when I'm like, cross it off, cross it off.
Yeah.
And I also write like, I don't write big tasks on to-do lists. I write small tasks. So I will do like, wake up will be number 1. And I'm like, did it.
Winning.
Yeah.
Put on work-on clothes.
Yeah.
Winning.
Went
Get
to
bed
coffee.
with the
Next.
my
Done.
coffee. Check.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, make bed. You know, I just start off with really small tasks. I don't write like clean apartment or clean kitchen.
Yes.
I'll be like, wash dishes.
Yes.
Organize cabinet.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So breaking up in small little tasks. All the sounds are happening now. So at this point, we should probably stop for a commercial break.
Yeah, stay tuned because later on we're going to have a fantastic interview with Maria and her friend Nora. Is it Nora?
It's not. It's Katerina.
Oh, Katerina.
This episode is brought to you by Covalent Careers, a career development company for new healthcare professionals. Covalent Careers provides new grads with education, mentorship, and job opportunities and provides employers with scalable talent acquisition solutions. Whether you're looking for a job, clinical tips, or advice on interviewing as a new grad, SLPs can find resources and job postings at covalentcareers.com/wine and cheese.
This episode is brought to you by ThroatScope.
I love my ThroatScope.
Hey, I love my ThroatScope too.
ThroatScope is especially helpful for conducting thorough oral mechanism evaluations.
Yes, because throat scopes are illuminated tongue depressors and retraction tools.
It includes a reusable light handle that slides onto a single-use tongue depressor.
ThroatScope integrates a natural light source to provide complete intraoral illumination for improved patient examination and outcomes.
So if you want to feel like a prepared SLP, you're going to need a ThroatScope. Go to www.throatscope.com for more info. And we're back. So as much as I really liked your tip about to steal paper.
That was my tip?
Yes.
Oh.
Right. I do want to warn people, don't steal things.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So gotcha. But I also wanted to go over my third tip, which is to also remember to slow down. So it's kind of a counterintuitive approach, you might think, but it actually has been proven that slowing down and being more calm and more mindful will make you more effective and efficient. Because I guess it's about quality over quantity. So if you have more like mental space cleared and you can accomplish more, or maybe you could really get the things done. Like, you know, let's say you want to clean out your closet. You didn't do a half-assed job. You spent all day doing it, let's say, or 2 hours, and you really did it, and you don't have to do it for a while now. So that's just an example. But yeah, so my third tip is to getting stuff done and balance is to slow down and relax.
Right. And stay calm.
And stay calm, whatever way you can.
Sometimes half as fast is twice as successful.
Yes.
And I always tell myself that it's important to be calm because even if something awful is going to happen, the first thing I'm going to have to do is be calm to deal with the awful thing. So just no matter what, be calm. Sometimes people might think that means that you don't care enough, but still, who cares?
Gotcha. I actually did a meditation with my favorite app, the Insight Timer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on there as SLP's Wine and Cheese. That's just me doing all those meditations. But you could like request me as a friend and you could see like what meditations I've done and which ones I like and stuff.
Oh.
It's like a little bit of an Instagram, but for meditating.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's called Insight, INSIGHT Timer. This is not a commercial. It's just something I personally really like.
Right.
And there was a meditation about worrying, and I liked the name of it. So I was like, do this. Mm-hmm. And it's true. When you worry about something, you worry about it twice. You worry about it, and then when it happens, you worry about it again.
Right.
And you're just kind of like attracting what you're worried about. And that people have this mindset, I'm going to worry. I worry about this, so I'm going to think about it all the time, which is actually like not what you want. You want to just remain calm and accept things and just let them be what they are, which is easier said than done, which is why I feel like I need this app in my life.
I always think, though, too, I don't want to, because I always tell myself, like, I'm not a psychic, so I'm not going to spend time worrying about something that I don't actually know it's going to happen.
Exactly, right.
So, like, I don't want to waste my time worrying about something.
Because it might not happen.
And I'm feeling it for no reason.
Exactly.
And I don't want to do that.
Exactly. Or if it does happen, or it will happen anyway, then you just worried about it twice. Worrying about it, and then, like, when it actually happens.
Right, yeah.
So,
and you don't want to make a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
You're, like, attracting it. Yeah, so many things. But still, easier said than done.
So now we're ready for your interview? What are the listeners in for? I don't even know.
I don't know. Maybe I want to be surprising. But I will introduce, this is one of our interviews. This is a fellow friend of mine. She's an SLP. She's excellent. She's great to work with. And she's a listener of SLP's Wine and Cheese podcast.
Oh, hey.
So, I mean, really just all great things I have to say about her. And, I hope you guys enjoy this interview.
With Kat.
With Kat.
So without any...
Darios. But I introduced her in the interview. No worries.
Okay.
I got it all covered on this lovely day that her and I had.
I think lovely is your favorite word.
Is it? It's not, though. Hey everyone, so here I am sitting with one of our lovely guests who is also a listener, so please welcome Katerina Darios. Hey Kat.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for allowing me to come over and pick your brain.
Anytime.
Great. So Kat, or Katerina, is a speech pathologist. She works full-time. She's also a mom, a wife, and a churchgoer, and she's just very busy. So I'm going to try to get all her knowledge in here because I know she's very busy. So Katerina went to Queens College for her undergraduate and LIU Post for her graduate school. And she started as a CF in a private school. And then the next school year, she went on to working in the public school system, which is where I met her.
Right.
And her and I both work with children with complex communication needs.
Right.
Yes. Did I miss anything? Well, and then you're a mom of 2 kids.
Right.
And you have a husband. Yeah. And you have a whole bunch of other extracurricular stuff you do too. Right. Before we get into all of that, so tell us, how has your school year gone, right? Because now pretty much the school year is almost over. We're at the last few days of school.
Yeah.
How do you feel like this school year went?
It went very well. I'm really excited to, end it on a good note and have summer focus on my own kids, and not have to worry about my students for, the 8 weeks that we're off.
Yes, so, 8 weeks.
Yes.
That's who's counting. No, I understand that completely. All right, so I wanted to talk first about your SLP life, and then I wanted to go into mom life.
Sure.
So as an SLP, you have experience working with children on the spectrum, articulation, phonology, learning disabled. Is there any particular population you prefer, not prefer, but feel like more well versed in?
I think that I might enjoy maybe working with the younger population. I really did like doing home care and being with the babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember when you were doing home care and we would talk about it. You seemed like you were very into that.
Right.
Do you think because it's also like you got to have close contact with the parent and you also being a parent?
Right, and being able to, relate to them in that sense and be able to offer them, advice based on my experience with those type of kids or just, experience with being a parent.
Yeah,
in
general.
Yeah.
Nice. So currently you are preparing to have like a staycation, right?
Yes.
So what are your plans for the summer with your kids?
This summer we're probably gonna go away for a week in August. So we're gonna take a little mini road trip somewhere.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and just let go and relax and soak in some sun
That's a
and
good
really
one.
spend some quality time with my kids.
That's very nice. I like that you talked about that. Okay, sorry, I geared from the topic. I still wanted to talk about speech. Sorry, hold on. Going back to speech stuff. So I feel like your style, like your SLP style, I think it's like very creative because you always like come up with cool crafts that I like.
you.
I'm like, where does she think of this? But like you find them on Pinterest and they look exactly like Pinterest or even sometimes better. So is that what you feel like it helps keep you inspired?
Yes, I do think that my creative side comes out with them when I'm working with kids, especially with things related to literacy activities. So bringing in the books and, creating a craft based on the book or even based on like a certain theme of like the month or the week or whatever, sometimes I just go with whatever the teacher's doing in the class and bringing it into speech and, oh, you're reading a book about, ice cream. Let's make an ice cream craft, something fun and carrying over what it is they're learning in the class too.
Exactly. And one of our interviews, we talked about how when you work with children on the autism spectrum, like the whole team has to be involved, like the teachers, the para, the OT, and everyone else.
Right.
So I like that you agree with that whole approach. Obviously you're doing it.
Definitely.
That whatever the teacher's working on, you're carrying it over.
Exactly.
That's great. And you do something, I think it's really cool. I think once a week in one of the classrooms you collaborate with the OT.
Yes.
And can you tell us about that?
Sure. So she brings in her sensory activity. Well, first we start off with a writing activity. So we do like the letter of the week. And then she brings a sensory activity related to the letter of the week. So we were just discussing for next week we might do a watermelon activity because she's doing the letter W. So it gets the kids motivated and then, so much language emerges from those type of activities and it's fun and engaging. So it's something that I really enjoy.
Nice. So next week you're going to do, let's say, the letter W, and then you guys might read like the
watermelon seed
that we got from the library.
Right.
I feel like Kat really appreciates the library.
I do.
Also, yes, as I do as well, that I've mentioned on the show. So you're going to read that book,
yes,
and then maybe do a craft with it, like with different.
Or we were discussing possibly bringing in some watermelon. And the OT was saying she would want to have the kids like pick the seeds out of the watermelon. So, really get their hands dirty and make it fun.
Yeah, the sensory part.
Exactly.
I don't really know that many kids in that class, but generally speaking, do they do well with the sensory part, or do you see some of those like defensiveness? Like that defensiveness.
We do have one or two students that are a little hesitant, but for the most part, the kids really, really enjoy it. Yeah, like we've done we've carved pumpkins in there before.
Oh.
The OT has brought in oranges and had the kids try to peel the orange with their hands,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, because me and Kat, we share a space, so sometimes I'll just overhear what you guys are doing, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Seems really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you collaborate with OT and the teacher. That's very
Yes.
cool to see and hear about.
Yeah.
Great. So collaboration, check.
Yes.
You got it. Yes. Crafty things, check. You got it. And literacy, you really like books.
I do.
Check. So would you describe that as your SLP style?
I think so, yeah. I really do like to, bring in a book, even if it's just for a few minutes, or even if we start off with a book and then move on to
Yes.
another activity or a
Mhm.
game. Yeah.
Good one.
definitely.
Okay, great. So do you feel like you incorporate that style to like when you're with your kids too?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We like to go to the library.
Oh my goodness. Please tell me more about that.
Surprise.
What's that like?
So we do make trips to the library. My oldest son sometimes brings books from school in something called a book baggie. So he goes
Oh.
to his classroom library and picks out books and brings them home. And so we're supposed to read one a night. So that's fun. Sometimes I find my little one running over to the book baggie and pulling books out and sitting down to read himself,
Aw,
Um,
and he
so-
tries to read it
He
or
tries, he'll just label items in the book and things like that. But those are pre-literacy skills, so
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Good for you, Kat. That's
so,
great.
Yeah, we're definitely big book readers at home.
Oh, nice. Bookworms.
Yes.
Very nice. And do you bring both of them with you to the library?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
Yes, we both go.
your little one who's still not even in preschool yet, right?
No,
right?
he's
No,
only 2.
he's only 2, and you're already exposing him to
Yes.
books.
It's so important. Yeah, it's definitely so important. They just learn so much from books, and I think that because with my older one, I would also read to him at such a young age, like even like when he was like a newborn, I think that that's how he's gained this love of books and is really so into reading.
That's great.
Yeah.
And the library.
And the
I
library.
love it.
Yep.
Great. So you're in. What about like arts and crafts? Maybe that's a little harder to do, but I know, just
I mean, we try, sometimes I bring things, like if I make something in school, I'll like let me make an extra one and I'll bring it home like for the kids. But, to be home and to put other things aside to do a craft, sometimes it's just not really doable.
right,
So,
because you
yeah.
have like dinner too, right?
Yes.
So you like to cook Greek food?
I do.
Tell us about that.
I try.
Yeah.
I do call my mom a lot when I'm doing things
Mm.
like that, like to get tips and things like that of like what kind of spices I should use. Or
Right.
what are some traditional dishes, but I do try my best.
Yes. A lot of them take a long time. Like
They
moussaka,
do.
pasticcio, that's like an all-day event. Like
It could be.
that is an all-day event.
It could
I
be.
made baklava, and that was quite a task, but
Yes.
I did it. I'm not.
And so when you're a busy mom, you don't
Oh,
have that
gosh.
kind of time.
Yes.
So you're just looking for some quick meals,
Yeah.
to just make.
Do your kids ever help you cook or bake? Or not-
Baking, yes.
Baking, yes.
Cooking, not yet.
Not
We're
yet.
not there yet.
Yeah, they're still a
I-
little too young, right?
Yeah. But
Oh.
I do. They help me bake and cookies and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention before is when you went to school and when you were working as your CF, you were living in Queens, and then you
Yes.
adjusted and live now in Staten Island,
Yes.
which is very interesting. I feel like we talk about Staten Island a lot, and Staten Island has like a certain reputation because people saw it on the Jersey Shore. So I just
Mhm.
want to be like, no, it's not always like
Right.
that. But how's well, you moved to Staten Island like what, 7 years ago now?
Just about, yeah.
How was that move, like transitioning from Queens, where you had your mom living nearby too,
I
right?
had my mom living nearby. I mean, that's where I grew up. I had all my friends and everything there. So yeah, it was a little tough, making the move here. But I think we adjusted pretty well. I found a job, working in the school, and my husband worked here already. So it just made sense that we both lived and worked in the same borough. But living on Staten Island is good.
Okay.
I find that it's everybody knows everybody, and which is no different than living in a Greek village.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just gotta leave your window open and you hear what's going on with your neighbor. or they hear
Right.
what's going on in your home.
Yeah,
You know?
and they're gonna ask you about it. They're not gonna
Right.
pretend they didn't hear it.
No.
They're gonna be like, "Oh, I heard you were fighting about the garbage." Right? They're gonna be
Right.
like, I heard that. Yes,
Exactly.
you were quite loud, and maybe you were even
Exactly.
whispering, but I leaned in closer to hear what you said.
Right. Exactly.
That's great. That is Greek people in a nutshell.
But
It just
on the
comes from a place of
upside-
love.
But on the upside, I mean, everybody knows everybody. So in a sense, like if you need a guy, you know, like
Right.
if you need a good mechanic or
Right.
whatever, you just gotta ask around and you'll find them.
That's a
So,
good point.
yeah.
Yes. So how is it being a full-time SLP and a mom of two? And a Staten Islander and a Greek person. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. A Greek American.
Being a mom is a full-time job, and being an
Yes.
SLP is a full-time job. So sometimes it's hard because you feel like you have to give 100% of yourself to being an SLP
Right.
and 100% of yourself to being a mom.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So it's easy to feel burnout sometimes, you know. But there are lots of pros and cons. I mean, you know, pros would probably include like watching my own children develop their language.
Right.
There's just nothing like that kind of an experience.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah,
Because you get to see it like happening in front of your own eyes.
exactly.
And they're your own kids. And you
Exactly.
know what's like, oh, that's 3-word utterance. Like,
exactly.
right?
Yes.
so you see it
Exactly.
from like different aspects, like in terms of like development, communication development.
It's not just, oh, he said this word. It's, wow, that's like a, you know, a CVC word. Or that's
Right.
like, oh, he said the T sound. Or, you know, so you look at it in a
Yeah.
different way. Yeah.
Wow. That was a consonant cluster like that.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, it's so exciting. And it's on your own child,
Exactly.
which is great.
So you get that sense of pride, too.
Yeah, I've heard your kids speak and they sound great. So,
Thank you.
did you ever do like prompt on them? Kat is also trained in prompt too. I'd be so tempted to prompt my own kids. We'll see what happens.
I
but-
have,
Yes.
yeah. But sometimes it's so cute that you don't want
Oh,
to,
gosh,
you know,
yes.
correct it.
Yeah.
So you just kind of
Yeah, like developmentally, I'll leave it
Yeah.
alone. Okay. I got you. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
You know, and also like you become you're so wrapped up and you're so busy, right? And then you really learn to like think on your feet, like, oh man, like I
Okay.
didn't have time to plan this thing that I wanted to plan for work.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just get in there and see what book can I grab and how I can make that work, you know?
Right. You feel like being a mom, you use that, like the ability to like think on your toes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, because especially when you're a mom, like let's say at home, you know, something doesn't go the way it's planned, which that's life, you know.
Mhm.
You're just like, all right, well, how else can I, you know, use my time and how can I fix this? And, you know, you're always looking to
Problem solve.
Exactly.
That's such a good skill.
Yes.
That is
exactly.
good. I like problem solving.
Right.
And it's important to be a problem solver, I think.
It is. And then you hope that, you know, you're modeling that for your own kids too.
Oh, right.
And they're seeing it because, you know, life isn't easy. Things happen. You have
Yeah.
to do things that are hard.
Right.
You know, I remember I was taking my two boys to get a haircut. So my youngest one was so nervous, you know, especially when they go near their ears with the
Oh,
buzzing
buzzer.
and everything. And so my oldest one would tell me like, Mom, like why, you know, why does he have to get a haircut? Like, and I'm like, well, you know, we have to do things that are hard. And just because this is hard for him doesn't mean that we're not going to do it.
Oh, that's such a great lesson
Yeah.
right there.
Right. So those little moments, you know, you're hoping that they're, you know, going to let it sink in and really develop
Absorb
those
it.
skills. Yeah.
I think they are, for
Yeah.
sure. And also, you're teaching that over time, you
Right.
know. So like, and you're also getting them their haircuts, right? So you're not
Exactly.
like, oh, forget it, and you're like doing that tough work.
Exactly.
Do the thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I've dragged Kat with me to yoga. No,
Yes.
not dragged her. She enjoyed it too. She's
No,
a
I
yogi.
did.
And that's one of the quotes. That was one of the like whole mantras of the whole class. And it was just like, do the thing. And that just means like do what's difficult. And like
Exactly.
it doesn't feel good, but that's where growth happens.
Exactly.
That's so great. You live by that.
I do.
So sometimes stuff is not as right, clear cut, right? So
Right.
there's also some difficulties, well, not difficulties, but more like, I guess, challenges or
Yeah, definitely. I
to
mean, being so busy, there definitely comes, the mental overload of everything.
right.
So I find that I have become very forgetful. I mean, I
Okay.
could be thinking of something, oh, this is on my to-do list, and then the very next second, like, I've already forgotten about it, So I literally have to write things down. I have to set alarms on my phone, to help me remember to do things,
But that right there is problem solving. You're
It
using
is.
strategies.
Yes.
So you got to give yourself a little bit more
Grace.
grace. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
of round of applause for that. A pat on the back.
Thank
Like
you.
you're finding what you're having a difficult
Yes.
time with, like remembering, recalling information.
Right.
And, visual support.
Exactly.
Writing it.
Exactly.
Timers are good.
Yep.
How about like a calendar? Do you have like a
Yes.
calendar? Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. I have a calendar I carry with me, but I also have a calendar at home to, keep track of after school activities and appointments and, everything else that comes along with, being a mom.
Put it on the calendar.
Yes.
I gotcha. And your like husband has to cross check it too,
Yes.
and you have to do all that fun stuff.
Yeah, because my husband actually plays music.
Oh, that's so cool. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
He's a bass player, so he also sometimes does shows. So we have to like make sure that we know which day he's doing that, and if I'm gonna be home, and we have to
Right.
keep in check with each other. Yep.
Does he play with the kids at all? Or
He
for the kids?
well he practices a lot at home, obviously. So like the kids usually when they hear him playing, they'll run into the room and want to listen to him. So it's cute.
That's so
Yeah.
cute. I think music is great. Have they showed any interest in instruments, or is it too soon for that? I'm not sure.
My oldest one, he tries. Like he has like a little guitar, and he tries to play. He does his thing. My little one though really does love music. Like
Okay.
anytime he's playing, and even if he hears like a car outside with music playing, he'll stop just to listen to it. He'll
Cool.
bop along sometimes. So we'll see where that goes.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That's great. I
Yeah.
feel like that ability to like hear a song and then play it, or you're like that musical talent. I feel like you're like almost born with it.
Yes.
So
My
it's
husband definitely was because he's self-taught.
wow, I didn't know that.
He took some, lessons, but for the majority, he practices a lot.
Yeah, it takes
So,
time. That's a
he's
skill too.
Determined to, be
Good.
good. Yeah.
That's a good skill to be determined.
Right.
So sometimes your house is noisy, right?
Yes, it could be
Right.
noisy. And
Okay.
we've spoken about this before too, where like sometimes you're working all day. Our job is to talk, and then you go home and you gotta do more
Oh
talking.
my God. I
So
don't know how you do
sometimes
that.
I just treasure, putting the kids to bed, and after 8:30, just like, the silence and the
Silence.
quiet, in the dark, just, maybe watching a movie and vegging out.
Yeah, you need that, right?
Yeah,
So do you
definitely.
find that's one of your tips or strategies to like decompress after a long day?
Definitely.
Okay, so that would be a tip
Definitely.
you would give to
Yeah.
SLP moms, or just even
Yes.
SLPs or moms in general.
Yes. Or even sometimes, like I've mentioned another time to you also, like I'll pause like before I go into the house after like a hard day at work or whatever, and just kind of like refocus, like, okay, I'm leaving work behind now. Now I'm going into my home, and rethink of, all right, this afternoon I have to do this, that, the other thing. Make sure I squeeze a little time in with my boys, and just to
Really?
have like a little peace of mind. Switch gears.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's very useful, right? A
Yeah.
tip?
Oh,
That's-
definitely helps.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you feel like you want to say to our listeners? Which, by the way, Kat, thank you for being a listener yourself.
I am.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for your show.
Oh,
I've become
thanks.
somewhat of a fan. I mean, you
Aw.
told me about it, and I was like, the desire is there to listen. I just
Right.
couldn't find the time, but then I made it work.
Gotcha. I have
And
to
yeah.
tell some other of my fellow interviewees
Mhm.
the same. Yes, they're like, I'm too busy. I'm like, you have time. I'll help you find it. So, yeah, any other helpful tips, we have a segment on the show, our tips and tricks segment. So if you would like to contribute and give us a tip or trick, it could be related to being a mom or not. It's up to you.
Sometimes I find that I want to bring toys home. So I have to make sure I sanitize those.
That's a good tip.
Yes. And vice versa. When sometimes I will, secretly take a toy from home to bring it to work, and hopefully my kids won't notice, I have to sanitize it as well.
Yes.
So that's something that I do.
I like that tip. Sanitizing toys.
Yeah. Summer's coming, so what I like to do when I take my kids out, I like to dress them in brightly colored clothes. Mostly hats. Like, I like to buy like bright colored hats, this way I could just spot them, across the playground or wherever it is we go out.
That's really smart. And me, I'm not mom, so I would not think of that. So that's great. Yeah, because you take your kids to the playground a lot
all the time,
and you always tell them what's mommy wearing too,
yes,
right?
I try to, have them also look for me. So, I remind them before we get out onto the playground, I say, hey, what's mommy wearing? So you remember, and you can always spot me and find me too. Yeah.
Great. These are two helpful tips too. Healthy, helpful tips. And they're safety first, which I love. Yes. I always say that. Safety first. Okay. And we also end our episodes with a quote. So is there any particular quote or mantra that you want to share?
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
whatever.
I do like your quote at the end of every day.
Thank you, Kat.
Right before it's time to leave, you say,
I always say, we did the best we could for today. And that's what helps me feel turn off my work brain.
Exactly.
I did my best for today, and the work will always be there. There'll always be something else to do. So I just have to put a stop on it, and I'll just pick it up the next day.
It was good enough for today.
Yes.
And then we can try again tomorrow.
Yes. And you have to know that you really did do the best you could.
Exactly.
And even some days you might have more energy or less or more time to dedicate to, let's say, paperwork and less to, well, that's just kind of how it works, There's different focuses of every day.
Exactly.
But thank you.
Yes.
But thank you again for having me over.
Sure.
And have a good night, everyone.
All right.
I'm Maria.
And I'm Kat.
Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, we can say bye in Greek. Adeia.
Yes, yes.
Kalinichta. Okay, so maybe I do use the word lovely often, but it is not my favorite word. So
it is a fantastic word.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should replace lovely with fantastic.
Or incredible.
Cool.
Or tremendous.
Tremendous.
Or fantastic.
Yeah. Or fabulous.
There we go.
Yes.
Tons of words.
We
should have a synonyms episode.
Okay.
But I love that interview. It's so great to hear another perspective. I'm not a mom.
Neither am I.
And I like to be able to feel more well-rounded while being exposed to what they think and feel and do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Because we can't just magically become moms.
No.
It takes more than that.
Yes.
But it's nice to think about, and eventually one day I hope to be a mom.
Right.
So, one day I think I will probably feel the same way she does. So it was a nice little preview of life.
Exactly.
Preferably because I want to be a mom.
And it shows you that everyone is thinking I need to prioritize, I need to balance. And no matter what is happening in your life, regardless of your responsibilities, and regardless of the size of your family, there's still lots that you have to do and think of on a daily basis. So
yeah,
don't be so hard on yourself. Make sure you
know.
have compassion for yourself.
Yes, I believe that point as well.
Mm-hmm.
So with that note,
tips and tricks.
More tips and tricks. I feel like I gave really good tips.
Yes, that you did. Steal the paper, take your time, and go to all the stores in your neighborhood before you go anywhere.
Exactly.
Yes.
Good tips, really.
Exactly.
I still think those are good tips.
My tip, I'm going back to the beginning, and my tip or trick is to just be 100% transparent, honest with your current situation. So just like I mentioned earlier, I was going to be late. I told them exactly when I was going to be there. I gave myself 12 minutes to park in addition to that because I knew it was going to take more than just arriving. I was in Brooklyn Heights. And it was fine. There was no problem.
Good.
And,
Like
people, they can either wait for you or they can cancel. And just know you're worth the wait. People want to see you and they want you to work with their children
Or hang
their
out with
family
you.
members.
Grab a coffee
Right.
with you.
Exactly.
Or do a podcast with you. Thanks,
Mhm.
Deb.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Well, I just know, I'll always have time to eat a sandwich before Maria gets here.
Look, you're welcome.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers to that. To eating
Cheers to sandwiches.
Great.
Okay.
So I wanted to give
Mhm.
like a speechy tip because I felt like I gave like life tips.
Okay.
Whether they were good or not. But I wanted to give like a reminder, because I'm sure we've talked about this, to really think about your sessions moving forward with the new season and to really just play into the client's strengths. I don't know. I just feel like the summertime is a more laid back time. So really just, use what's working. Like just
Exactly.
capitalize on that. And that's not like taking a shortcut. That's not playing it safe. It's just really being efficient with your time and playing to the strengths, playing to where their intelligence lies, because there are
Right.
7 different types of intelligences. So that's my tip.
Okay.
So
I think that's great.
thank you.
So what's our quote?
I was going to let you say one because I feel
Oh.
like you have a lot going on and I'm more like, let me have more wine.
Okay.
Yeah. Here I
So
go.
I'm going to go back to the quote that I said earlier, that sometimes half as fast is twice as effective. And I do think that, I think about that every day. And I think I do accomplish a lot because I do them carefully and slowly. So that's,
I'm going to ask you to repeat that quote one more time because it's such a good one.
yeah, half as fast is twice as successful.
Half as fast is twice as successful.
Sometimes. That's what it says in the beginning. Sometimes half
Right.
as fast.
Okay.
Not in a race.
Gotcha.
You probably should go fast that whole time.
Right. Well, you are there to be fast.
Yeah.
Right. And have the race over so you could eat and drink and
Right, at
go
the
home
finish
and
line.
nap. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So on that note, everyone, happy summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Maria.
I'm Deb.
And thank you for listening.
Good night.
Good night. Adios.